Okay, this is the first day we got our 32-foot camper that we're going to be living in until we get our house finished. And I've got to install a washer dryer. So I've shopped around and I found a stacked, I think it's Whirlpool brand, washer dryer. They run on 110. I've got to put in the water supply to it and a vent for it. And then we're preparing the ground up here where we'll put in sewer connection, water connection, and a power pole. And so it looks like we're going to be camping for a while. Now, one interesting thing, I'll tell you this. Years ago, I went to Mexico on a mission trip. And so I'd never been to Mexico before. So I'm there in Mexico with my friends and our interpreter and everything, and I noticed that it reminded me a lot of Thailand. And I see papaya trees and coconut trees and all that kind of thing. And so in Thailand, they take green papayas. They eat them ripe as fruit as well, but they take green papayas and they chop, they peel them and they chop the meat and they slice it off, kind of like shred it. And they'll add lime and fish sauce and garlic and tomatoes and all this other stuff, and they mash it in a, they call it a croque, which is a mortar and pestle, I think it's actually called. It's a big clay pot with a like a tiny little baseball bat. It goes in there and it mashes the stuff up. Anyway, and they make that salad called Somthom, and everybody loves it in Thailand, especially in the Isan province, where the hillbillies are, where we used to live. And so anyway, I'm there in Mexico, and I see the green papayas. And so I asked my interpreter, I said, how do y'all eat the papayas? And he said, well, when they're ripe, of course, we eat them as fruit. And I said, well, do you do anything with them when they're green? And he said, no, nothing you can do with them. And I said, oh yeah, there's a salad. And I told him about it. And he said, well, that sounds good. He says, kind of spicy. Oh, and you put hot pepper in it. Kind of spicy and a little bit sweet and sour. And he said, that sounds like something we'd like, you know. And so it was about almost a year later, I made a second trip down there on a mission trip. I was leading a team this time. And so I took all the ingredients with me, hooked up with our same interpreters. We went out and got a green papaya, and I told them, I said, I'm going to make this for you. So we go back to their house, and I chopped the green papayas, and I added all the stuff and got it really spicy and everything, and made the salad, and they loved it. And they said, man, this is awesome, you know. And so I figured he's probably going to make it for himself from time to time, and I didn't think any more about it. So now, move forward. Many years later, Mew and I were going over to Georgia because it's the only place I could find a really good deal on this camper. And so we stopped at, we were going to check out two different campers. So we stopped at the first place in, I forgot the name of the Georgia. Chatsworth, Georgia. Thank you, dear. Chatsworth, Georgia. And we looked at their camper, and we want to compare it to the one over in Woodstock, which is about another hour away, which is where we finally got this one. So altogether, it was like 3.5 hour drive to go over there. But the first place we looked, and we're looking at the campers, we smell something really good. So the guy said, yeah, there's a Mexican restaurant next door. And so when we left to go to Woodstock, we decided, well, let's just eat now. So we go in the Mexican restaurant, and we ate, and everything was pretty good. And then before we left, we noticed this Mexican guy. He comes out of the kitchen with this cart, and on it he's got a pestle, mortar and pestle, and he's got all these little ingredients. And he's got tomatoes and onions and garlic, and he's got a couple of green papayas. And so I'm thinking, what is this? What's this guy gonna do? So he goes over to this table, big table full of people, and it's kind of like part of the show, right there in front of him, you know. He's shredding up the papaya, and he's adding all the ingredients, and he's doing the thing and getting it all prepared, and he serves them. And so I thought, well, that's amazing, that's Somthom. And so I stopped him when he came back by with his little cart, and I said, hey, excuse me. I said, what do you call that salad you just made? And he said, in Spanish we call it ensalada de Gringo loco. And I said, and I know a little bit of Spanish, but not much. And I said, I want to be sure. I said, well, what does that mean in English? He said, it means the crazy white man salad. And I said, where did that come from? Is that typical Mexican food in the part of the Mexico you're from? He said, no. He said, there's a kind of like a legend, an old story that some crazy white guy, American guy, I guess, he said, comes down to Mexico, saw some green papayas, and taught some of his friends how to make this salad. And he said it caught on, and people like it. And he said, so, you know, we brought it with us when we came to the States and opened this restaurant. It's really popular. And I thought, I think I know that crazy gringo. So anyway, just thought that was interesting. Little side note to our camper hunt. Anyway, that's all for today. We'll see you again next time.